Hi guys, I wanted to do something goofy today and I've never actually tried the Boss Katana, and this is the second version, the MK2. I haven't tried it either. I've bought this MK2 for a friend of mine and I thought this is a good opportunity to finally give it a try. Why goofy, you might ask? Well, I got this amp an hour ago and my friend wants to collect it in an hour, so I got very limited time with it. So I'm gonna play it with the Diezel VH4. I'm gonna play a Metallica riff through this LTD Iron Cross and compare both amps. As I already said, this is the first time I'm trying a Boss Katana. I've never seen one in person. I haven't watched any in-depth reviews, so I had to figure out the controls pretty fast. I pretty much had 5 minutes to dial a tone suitable for my Metallica playing, and I seem to prefer the brown amp type with the variation engaged. The gain is set here, volume here, a bit more bass than usual, middle is here. I've dialed down the treble. I didn't use the boost or any effects even though you got them. The master is set here and I'm using the full power at 50 watts baby. I've recorded both amps using the Shure SM57 popular microphone. For this demo I'm using the LTD Iron Cross James Hetfield signature with the headset EMG pickups. I'm gonna explain what the Boss is and then I'm gonna play the demos. The main thing that you need to know about the Boss Katana MK2 is that it is a 50 watt amp with a 12-inch speaker, and that makes a huge difference. What's new MK2? Let's read the brochure. Katana MK2 takes the acclaimed Katana guitar amp series to the next level, turbocharging the core platform with more sounds, more effects and more features. Newly voiced variations are now available for all 5 amp characters, doubling the tonal options. The onboard effect categories had been expanded from 3 to 5, providing even more real-time processing to choose from. They've pretty much updated the already good MK1 version with more amps, more effects, and most importantly for me, they're still using the 12-inch, which is the proper size for the guitar speaker. I'm not gonna disassemble it obviously, but I'm gonna give you an overview and a quick opinion about it. The very first impression was pretty useful because I had to carry this thing from the courier's office to the shop. It was a good 10-minute walk in the heat. I used the sturdy handle to carry it around without a box and I was fine. I've carried heavier though and I'm not exactly the weakest man in Bulgaria. This handle is pretty stiff, you cannot get it any flatter than this, so this means you cannot put anything on top of the katana, and you're not supposed to do so because you see the controls are on top already. You're gonna block them if you put anything on top of it. Anyway, one of the things that surprised me is the size. It's not that big. At first I thought, is this really a 12-inch combo? Where did they fit the 12-inch speaker? Because it kinda looks like a 10-incher to me. When you look at it from the open back, you can see that it's a pretty tight fit. Looking at the back made me realize something. The speaker is offset, it's not sitting in the center. You can see it's slightly to the left, and I've already recorded the demo with the mic placed here. This means it was on the edge of the speaker. I'm gonna use this take for the intro anyway, and I'm gonna mic it properly for the demo. Most of these combos have the open back construction for the cabinet and I'm not a big fan of that, but it is what it is. We have made by Roland and the serial number here. Then we got the USB connectivity, aux in, foot controller, phones and power amp in. The controls are placed towards the back and they're facing up. I'm gonna walk through them a bit later in the video. To better understand my confusion when miking up this amp, you cannot properly see the speaker from this thick mesh in the front. I didn't want to remove it and shining a light didn't do the trick. Looking at this amp from the front, you're kind of expecting the speaker to be in the center, but it is slightly offset to the left, so the center of the cone is here and the edge is here, and I want the mic to be in between them. At first I've placed the mic here, which happens to be the edge of the speaker, and this is giving you a completely different sound. I wanted to compare it to the Diezel placement. Why didn't they place the speaker in the center like the Angle amp underneath it? Well, I'm guessing that they wanted to install some tweeters on the sides or something. I want to quickly walk you through the controls. You have the amp types: acoustic, clear, crunch, lead, brown, and then you have the variation. I seem to prefer the brown for this video. Then you have the gain, volume, then you got the EQ section and a booster and modulation with separate controls. The upper controls the modulation, the lower controls the booster. Same situation with the effects and delay, and you got a top tempo on the delay. You can turn them off by rolling down. Then of course you got the reverb. You got 3 different reverb types that are switchable through here. Then you got the channel selector, and you can control it by the panel from here. Channel 1, channel 2, or if you choose custom settings, you can switch to the panel. Then you got the power control. You can use it as a half watt amp, like a 25 watt amp or a 50 watt amp. Pretty much more than any beginner will ever need. Time for some demos, and let's make things interesting with a couple of blind tests. I've already recorded both of these amps with the SM57 mic with the same placement of the microphone in front of the speaker. Try to guess which amp is which by only listening to the tracks first. Did you guys get them right? Now check them out with the video in the same order. I've intentionally used the more compressed channel 4 on the VH4. Let me know in the comment section which recorded sound did you prefer. That's outside of a mix and not in the room though. What do I think about the Boss MK2? Well, there are a couple of ways to look at it. First, as a beginner amp, second, as a practice amp, and third, as a gigging musician's amp, which I wouldn't do necessarily, even though that it's doing okay when mic'd up, and it will probably sound decent through a PA system. What do I like about it? The compact size and the 12-inch speaker that's in it. I would advise any beginner, if you have the chance to pick up a slightly bigger and more expensive amp, always go for the 12-inch speaker. Don't get the 6, the 8 inches one. Get the proper 12-inch guitar speaker. There are 2 of those different models in the Diezel. There is one in the Angle as well. If you want a proper guitar sound in the room, you should always go for the meaty mids that only a 12-inch guitar speaker produces, and Boss managed just that, to fit the proper speaker in this compact box. Do not buy a smaller speaker amp because you think that you're gonna be too loud. You have the power control option, you can sound like a half watt, 25 or 50 watts. The half watt setting is perfect even for a midnight practice at home. If half a watt is too loud as well, for example, you don't want to wake up your sister, you always have the phones option, you can play on headphones. Even though I had this thing for an hour, I managed to get some experience with it by carrying it around, by plugging it into a guitar, and overall I like it. I would recommend it to any beginner. Get it over a smaller amp or something, because you have a lot of options to play quiet with it, and when you want you can be louder. It seems to be missing a tuner, but you can always buy a separate one or use a phone application. Would I buy one to use when I'm not around my big amps? I'm not entirely sure. I managed to get a good sound of it for 5 minutes. Maybe if I have it for longer, I could play around with the effects, with the presets, and build a better opinion. For now, it's just a playthrough, and my first impressions about this amp is good. What I can do is compare it to my first amp, the Modeling Line 6 Spider Jam, and the Boss Katana MK2 definitely beats it. Thank you guys for watching, I hope you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe.